to about stories. I've been reading a lot lately about the power of sharing your story. So I thought that it might be really powerful and maybe helpful to some of you if I shared some of my story with you. And I also thought it might be really helpful for me because I want to start a new story and I want to share some of that with you. So this is going to be my weight loss story. It's kind of an embarrassing and exciting story. I've never actually told this story to anybody. Not even my husband has heard this story. So y'all are hearing it with the world for the first time. So I had always been a very thin person for a lot of reasons. And maybe that's not a story that I'm ready to share yet, but I was a very, very thin person. When I got pregnant with my first daughter, I weighed less than 100 pounds. I was a tiny person. And then as I continued to get older, have more children, I put on a little bit of weight, but I was still kind of a small person. And when my third daughter was born, my max weight had been 148 pounds. So for my frame, I'm 5'4". 148 pounds is kind of at the max edge of normal going into overweight. But that had been as big as I'd ever gotten before. So after that, I started having a lot of problems, like female problems, some pretty serious issues, and I gained a lot of weight. So before I became a vegan, and this was about 4 years ago, I weighed 196 pounds. So I was really big, and it was really affecting my life. I was depressed, I was unable to exercise, I was miserable, I was tired, I was fat, I was just super unhappy. So my husband, one day he was watching Netflix and he watched the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And he came to me and he said, I think we should do a juice fast. And I had always felt like we were eating really healthy. I tried to eat healthy, but I have like this secret Whataburger addiction. So that was a lot of my problem. And so he said, why don't you watch the documentary and figure out what we have to do? So I watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I felt like, okay, we can do it, but he was super inspired, so we decided to go on this juice fast. So we lived in Longview, Texas, and we drove the 2.5 hours to Dallas to go to Fry's, which is like an electronics store, to buy a juicer like that day. And we bought like this, I don't know, Jack LaLanne juicer or whatever. And we went to the store and we bought everything we needed to juice, and the juice fast lasted a day and a half. And he got home from work on the second day and was like, I'm so hungry, I can't take it, I gotta eat something. But I felt really dedicated, and in the time between when we had watched Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead and this time when my husband said he was so hungry he had to eat something, I had started watching all the documentaries that popped up on Netflix as like recommended watching. And one of those was Forks Over Knives and, Food Inc. and Vegucated, just a whole bunch of documentaries. And I felt really like, maybe this is what we should do. So we went to this Mexican food restaurant and he ordered what he always ordered, which is like a California burrito, and it's like got meat and cheese and all this stuff. And I was like, I can't do this, but I didn't know what to do. Like I had no idea what I was doing. I just didn't know what to do. So I ordered guacamole salad and had like salad with guacamole on top, and that's like what I ate. And so we went home and we got into bed that night, and I told him, I said, I really think we should stop eating meat. Like I think this is what we should do. And so we watched Forks Over Knives together, and he was on board. And so I made my kids watch Forks Over Knives with me, and they were pretty on board too. And so we started pretty simply because I didn't know what to do. So we lived in a really small town. We didn't have access to a lot of stuff, and So we started, I think every night we ate what I call potato salad bar, which is like potatoes with salad on top. And I would make like this cashew cheese stuff. And I just got started and I started reading as much as I could and watching videos and all this kind of stuff. Okay, that's a really long part of my story. Anyway, within about 4 months, I lost 30 pounds. So at this point, well, I had lost about 25 pounds because at this point I weighed about 170 pounds. So this happened in 3 or 4 months. It came off super fast. I lost this weight. Now I'm not exercising at all. I want to like make that super clear. Not exercising. This is just food wise. So I kind of stalled out there and I went through some really difficult things in my life and I just sort of stayed at between like 167 and 170 pounds. And I was like, I don't understand why I'm not losing more weight. I just feel really upset about this. I don't know what's going on. So I went to the doctor and I got all my blood tests run and everything. And of course, everything was beautiful and perfect, except I had a really bad hormone imbalance. Now, if you'll think back a minute, I told you I had some really serious feminine issues. So this all relates back to that. So with the help of my doctor, I got those hormone issues under control. And I lost about another 10 pounds. So I weighed about 160. And then I realized that I really needed to stop snacking so much because, you know, when you're at home, you just eat whatever you want. And I worked primarily from home at the time, and I needed to start exercising. Then I took a new job. And my new job was significantly more active than my previous jobs had been. So I was a lot more active, and I was just throughout the course of my day, like not actual exercise active, just working active. So I was standing up a lot more, I was moving around a lot more, and because I had to leave my house to go to work, I started really paying attention to what I was eating. So, you know, I had to plan my breakfast, I had to plan my lunch, and there wasn't anywhere to go out to lunch, and there wasn't any lunch available or food available where I worked. So what I brought is what I had, and so I had to be really mindful about what I was eating. So I lost, when I started that job, I lost another 10 pounds. So now I'm at, you know, 150-ish. I was between like 150, 153. So I was feeling great, like I was feeling really good. So then I added in some exercise. So once I started adding in a little bit of yoga, that's honestly what I added in. I'm calling that exercise. My back was really hurting from my job and being active and standing up so much, and it was just really bothering me, so I thought yoga would help. So I was doing yoga like 3 times a week. Just, you guys watch my videos. If you do watch my videos, you know I do yoga with Adrienne. I'll link her below. I love her videos. So I was doing that like 3 times a week. And it held my back, and I dropped about another 5 pounds. So I was down to 145. So all in all, that's 50 pounds. So I lost 50 pounds. I started running about 3 times a week in May, and I lost 5 more pounds, but then I quit running and gained those 5 pounds back. So now I weigh between, depends on what day it is, between 140 and 145. So I've lost between 50 and 55 pounds, just, you know, weight fluctuates or whatever. But, you know, my body's significantly different. My arms are pretty thin. My face obviously is a lot thinner. You know, you can see my clavicles. My hands are super skinny. You know, my wedding ring just flies off all the time now. So the biggest gains that I had were like in clothes. So when I started, I had gone to the store, and what had really caused me to have a breakdown, and I think my husband would never tell me this or confess it, but I think he was really looking for ways to help me lose weight when he was watching this video on Netflix, because I had gone to the store and realized that I needed to buy a pair of size 16 pants. And I didn't buy the pants because I was so upset. I just wore yoga pants all the time. I never wore pants that needed a button. And it was really upsetting to me. And so I went from that, and now I wear a size 6. So it was a pretty dramatic change. And I am hoping that this isn't the end of my journey. So being between 140 and 145 pounds now, you know, I think I look really nice and I look good and I'm happy with the way I look. Now I want to really focus on fitness. If you look at my Facebook or if you look at my videos, you know that we live a really active lifestyle, and I want to increase my fitness ability so that I can just be even more active and do more of the things that I love to do, especially now that I live here in Colorado, where all of those things are so readily available to me. So I'm gonna make a future video on my goals and what I would like to do, but that is my weight loss story. So if you have any questions about what it is or how I feel about it and any other things, you can ask me down below. It's really hard because we live in such a weight-centric society and a body-centric society to like reveal that kind of stuff, like reveal those sort of numbers and everything. But I honestly think that, you know, a lot is said in how you feel. So I'm 5'4", I weigh, you know, I just got on the scale this morning, it was 143 pounds. I know old me would think that was huge and it was so much weight, and some people may still feel that way, and I have a lot of improvement that I can make, but I feel like I look really nice and I wear size 6 pants and I feel really happy with those things, and people carry their weight differently and all of those things. So you should feel happy in you, but you should also be healthy, you know, and take into consideration your own body. You know, do you have giant boobs like me, or do you work out a lot or whatever? And I have really good fitness and I am trying to increase my fitness. So I hope that you enjoyed my story. Leave me some comments down below, and my next story will be about the future, I hope. Until then, live, eat, and be